Welcome back. Well, the UK leadership getting a jump start on post-Brexit trade talks with the United States this week. According to EU rules, the UK cannot actually sign a trade deal until it officially leaves the bloc of nations. But my next guest is optimistically looking forward and securing a full trade agreement by March of 2019 is what he's expecting. Joining us right now is the Secretary of State for the United Kingdom's International Department of Trade, Liam Fox. Liam, it's great to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So tell us, what is the most important negotiating point for you in this process? Can you walk us through what's happening today?
Yes, we're having a number of strands of talks. The first is what we call the continuity agreements. These are agreements that the UK has with the US as a party to the EU, so we have to ensure that they continue as we leave the European Union for reasons of business and market stability. Secondly, we're looking at short-term outcomes where we can achieve some bilateral liberalisation while we're still in the European Union. Thirdly, we're kind of scoping out the future agreement that we might want to have. And fourthly, we're working together to see how we can help improve the global economy and the pretty poor trading environment that we find ourselves in today. So a lot of work. We've been given great access to the administration. I met with the Vice President yesterday, who was charming and well informed, as you would expect. The US Trade Representative, Robert Lighthizer, who's a delight to work with, and Secretary Ross, who of course commands such great respect. So we've been very well treated while we've been here. Yeah,
so talk to us about what you'd like to see from a trade deal with the U.S. As of right now, there's over $230 billion worth of trade between the two countries. You're looking to build on that number. What's most important that you want to see in a deal with the U.S.?
Well, a number of different things, and of course we're scoping out those sectors at the present time, but clearly there's room in the service sector to open. There's some room in defence cooperation there as well. So we're not prejudging it. We're actually saying to our American colleagues, let's look and see where we can find added value. Some of the preliminary work that's been done, some estimates say that we could be increasing that current $220 billion of trade by another $40 billion by 2030, were we to get further opening of our markets. And of course, perhaps even more importantly, is the work that we're going to do together internationally at the World Trade Organization to see how we make that work better for us and how we get the global economy to open up. And for the United Kingdom and the United States, where we have very dominant service sectors, getting an opening of the global service sector is potentially worth a great deal to us in terms of prosperity and jobs.
You mentioned the WTO and getting it to work better. Can you talk a little bit about what's broken about the WTO? This is the Geneva-based organization which arbitrates a lot of disagreements between the United States and China, the UK and others. What isn't working there? Why does it need to be working better?
Well, remember, first of all, the WTO is not something that's done to us. It's something that we helped create, both the United States and the UK. But it was set up in 1995, and the global economy was quite different there. And one of the reservations we have is that while it's still of enormous importance, and if it didn't exist, we'd have to invent it, is that it's maybe not as agile as it ought to be. For example, we still don't have any global governance on the digital economy, on e-commerce, and we're looking at ways in which we can speed that up. And I was in Geneva talking to the Director General, Roberto Azevedo, about this last week, and now we're exploring some ideas, and it's very helpful and encouraging to have the US administration working with us on that.
When you say services, what I want to know is financial services. I mean, you know, London is one area in the UK that's become a real hub for financial transactions. Wall Street has major hubs there in London. Are they going to have to move out and go and find a place in, you know, in the Eurozone to make their European headquarters? Or are you going to be able to do a deal with the US that allows Wall Street firms to keep their people in London?
Well, one of the reasons that London is such a successful financial centre is that we have a very deep professional financial services infrastructure that doesn't exist anywhere else. And if you look at the rankings of European cities, for example, in terms of global financial centres, you see London and New York at number 1 and 2. The next European is 23, which is Frankfurt. Paris is 28. So in terms of a realistic view of financial services, London is likely to remain preeminent. And in our negotiations with the European Union, we're of course trying to ensure that we get as little disruption as possible. And the bottom line is that anything that the European Union in negotiations would do that would harm London is likely to harm European businesses and their ability to access capital.
And then there's the point of contention around the importation of chlorine-washed chickens into the UK. It's been reported that you are in favor of relaxing certain rules like this in order to secure a deal. Is that right?
No, it's not right. It's kind of the end point of a single sector in a negotiation. It's a long way down the line. And we mustn't allow relatively small issues like that to stand in the way of the big negotiation. People don't really object to the fact that the salads they buy in the supermarkets are washed in chlorine. And as far as I'm concerned, no one's forced to buy anything. No one is forced to eat anything as a consumer. So we've got to try and keep these things in proportion, I think, to the bigger arguments about how do we help the global economy expand, how do we get more prosperity and jobs for our respective populations, how do we get the trading system to work better. They're the big picture things that I think we need to concentrate on.
Absolutely. Liam, good to see you. Thanks so much, sir.
It's a pleasure. Thank
you. We'll
be
watching the developments. Liam Fox there.